Right, let's get into the first discussion of the day now. The traditional ruler of Bachama Kingdom in Numan local government area of Adamawa State says there is another planned attack by Fulani militia on his domain.
Homan Honest Irmia alleges that the militia are moving into Bachama in droves. He said the alarm, he raised the alarm when a police delegation led by an assistant inspector general visited the area for an assessment after the killing of officers. Now, the AIG assured the monarch that reinforcement would be deployed to the area.
People are fleeing. And when people flee, it is that we have information that the reprisal that we're talking about is coming. So no matter how much you try to go and assuage people's feelings, they can't. And some of this information are from what we call inside source. So you try, my Hausa Fulani community, who are, some of them have no other place than here. They are not happy, you are not happy, the system is not happy. I pray that the needful has to be done.
It's quite unfortunate that this happened, and we would also like to come straight with you. For everybody here in Numan, of course, is your boy, so we are your men, and we want to concentrate with you on the death of the police officers. We are going to do a lot of proactiveness here, and we're going to make some changes to ensure that we don't have the occurrence of what happened. And we are going to, deploy a lot of assets to intelligence assets, and definitely we're going to bring in more men. And those that died will definitely not die in vain, because we'll make sure that the assailants are arrested. We'll do that. And we'll also make sure that we enthrone peace in the town, because that is very, very, very paramount.
All right. Well, joining us via Skype from Abuja is a security expert, Patrick Agbambu. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Now, is this a deliberate attempt on the part of the assailants to decimate the numbers of security forces? Because this seems to be a totally new dimension.
Yeah, if you remember, when Boko Haram started, at the beginning of their attack, they started with the security forces, all the agencies, the police, the customs, the immigration officers. These were the people that were being attacked and killed. It's a way, first of all, to put fears in those agencies that would have ordinarily prevented them from carrying out their act. So it's the same pattern that we're noticing now with this militia now trying to scare off or to announce to the country that they are available. And so we really believe that the security agencies and the government would sit up and make sure that we do not go the same paths that we traveled before Boko Haram became what it turned out to be.
All right, we're hearing these attacks after the IG of police visited Numan in a swift reaction when people were killed, and has started deploying special squad to Numan. How would this impact on the confidence people have in the special squad that the IGP had deployed to Numan and to Adamawa State?
Yeah, from my record, when the IGP made the announcement, the team had not actually arrived in Numan before these people decided to carry out this act. Some of the members of the team were still being prepared to proceed on the mission, the special team to go on the mission. You know, when the Mr. President gave the instruction that the IGP and other security agencies must make sure that these killings do not continue. IG had to hurriedly visited the Adamawa and Zamfara State almost at the same time to look at what is happening. Then from there, he made a pronouncement that they would deploy the special forces. But this would take some little some more days to be able to get them, because a lot of things have to be put in place before they arrive over there.
All right, Patrick, I'm saying this because I spoke with the, we had Jima Moshood, the police spokesperson, on the program here sometime, and he said that the deployment of Special Squad to Adamawa State had started, that the first batch had arrived.
Yeah, yes, like I said, I'm telling you, yes, some people would have arrived as earlier as Jima did say, but not that the complete team have arrived. By now, I'm sure that the complete team will be getting over there. About 500 forces are to be deployed there. As at Friday, I know that some team, I think the last batch were on their way to proceed to Adamawa for that mission. So I'm confident that when the team settles with all the support they need from the government to do their work, they need a lot of support. Then I think the confidence will be restored, because, but the problem is that we have allowed this to come to this point. There have been signs very long time that we expected that special forces should have been deployed down to those areas. I remember that the governor of Taraba State, Governor Darus, Ishaku had also cried out that some people are marching around his state. So I expect that we must be proactive to be able to guarantee confidence and safety for the people.
Yes, indeed. Okay, at this point, let's bring in our other guest who is with us in the studio, Director General of International Institute of Professional Security, and that's Tony Ofoyeto. Good morning, and it's good to see you.
Good morning.
On the show this morning. So now, the policemen, of course, were drafted to maintain peace in Numan, and now they are a target. And the traditional ruler of that area has cried out that there are indications that there will be more attacks, you know, in that particular area. What should we make of this deployment? Because it doesn't seem to be deterring this terrorist attacks.
My first take when I heard the story was, you know, a wrong strategic approach towards curbing terrorism. Yes, you may not call them terrorist organization, but if you look at the World Index of Terrorist Group, the Fulani Herdsmen is categorized as the third deadliest
in the world.
And unfortunately and painfully, the government has been handling such organization with kid gloves. That is what has been giving them the impetus to do what they are doing. You know, I've always believed in the philosophy of taking the battle to the gates house of the enemy. I don't believe in the idea that when they attack or you wait for them to attack. I don't believe in that philosophy, especially when it comes to terrorism. Now, that's why I said that it's a failed strategic approach towards curbing terrorism. It seems that we are in a country where we value inanimate things, money, cow, and the like, more than human lives. And we've seen it play out severally. Now, if you look at what has happened here now, what we expected was that not just have roadblocks and have armies and soldiers and strategic places within the town. It doesn't work like that. Why? Because the signature of the Fulani terrorist group is not within the metropolis. It's right in the bush. Now, if it is in the bush, the question is this: to what extent have you gone right inside? Now, that is one major thing. But that again
would depend on the manpower to actually...
No, you see, these are human beings. If you are talking about manpower, are they bigger? Are they more in number compared to this police deployed to each state? You are talking of a guerrilla warfare in style of approach. Hit and run. Now, if you are talking, then what we expect is, number one, if you lack the appropriate manpower, deploy intelligence. Intelligence will be able to help you map out your route. Intelligence will be able to help you map out the most probable location. then at that
so
point
you can preempt.
you cannot preempt. You should be able to understand what is even the grazing route in Nigeria, for example. There are grazing routes in this country. The police, the security agencies, do they know this route?
I wonder if those routes haven't even been blurred.
Are you there
Right?
with me?
Yes.
Do they know this route?
Yeah.
They should be better than the Fulani herdsmen because they are the security agents. They should work with the National Boundary Commission if they are confused about some things. And I think that it is high time we began to hear of stories of the army, the police going into the forest and bringing out hoodlums who are using the forest as a cover-up. Yeah. If not so, we most likely may be having this on a regular basis because they run into the forest because they know you are not going to come there.
All right, let me bring Patrick back in here. Patrick, there is this concern by Nigerians that there's always a delay and then a reaction. The Nigerian security agencies are very reactionary to a lot of some of these things. Now, the attack by herdsmen, whether they're Fulani or they're whatever, but the attack of herdsmen in all of these places is not new. But they allow them to always carry out the attack before the security agencies react. Why is it like that? What is the government really missing out here?
Yeah, like I said earlier, the government and security agencies have not gotten it right because intelligence is most important. Before we allow them to strike, we expect that action should have been taken quite earlier to prevent them. My friend they talked about hitting it at their doorstep. Yes, I can tell you that there are forests which I have visited around that territory and the territory of Kaduna and Zamfara, the Fagore forest, which it's known to be their base, the base of most of these Fulani, these terrorists as they are called. It's been visited, and I also know that by Thursday last week, the whole of Nigerian army, led by the chief of army staff, they were also in the forest, that particular forest. Yes, these are not the herdsmen, like people call them herdsmen. They are not herdsmen. We must, first of all, call them who they are. They are terrorists. They are not herdsmen. Yes, they operate, like people would say, like Fulani herdsmen. But from those that have been arrested, because I know that some arrests were made, and from interrogation to find out where they are coming from, it's obvious that these are not people who are into cattle rearing or cattle breeding. These are people that are militia meant to cause trouble in the country. So they must be dealt in that format. I expect that now that the decision is in this form, that the whole of the Nigerian military will take up the action. We expect that the Nigerian efforts should do some operations in those identified forests in the Adamawa axis, Taraba axis, and the Fagore forest. We also have some forests around Bauchi where they've been identified to be hiding. The Nigerian Air Force is the agency that could help right now to be able to demobilize them before the ground forces can go into those forests to do anything. You cannot go into those forests just because you want to attack them, because these people are prepared. It's their territory. They know the territory very well. They live in the bush, so they know it very well. So we expect action to be taken and not just talks and visits to be made.
All right.
Actions must be taken urgently.
Okay, Patrick Agbambo is a security expert. Thank you so much for your insights this morning on TVC Breakfast. We'll continue with Tony Ofeyeton. You heard what he said there. That look, these really are not, just like you said, they're not cattle rearers. These are terrorists. But why is it that government is reluctant to give them the right name, which is, you know, reflected in the way they've been carrying out their acts? And you talked about the approach that government should use.
Yes, you know, there are some, you know, very radical decisions that the government have to take, because as it is now, human lives are concerned. And it's like we no longer value human life. I grew up in this country to understand the concept of the value of human lives. Yeah. But recently, it's like that concept is beginning to, erode. Having said so, the fact that if you say that these are not Fulani cattle rearers or whatever, now, if an organization like Métis Allah Breeders Association, at every attack, will come all out to defend. And the defense is always that they rustle our cattle. Number one, I expect that by now the government should have asked them to shut up or proscribe them. Because you cannot in public begin to defend wholeheartedly, unapologetically, group of people that are involved in massacring and burning up villages, all because, as far as you are concerned, cattle are being rustled. Now
is there more to this really than what that means?
That is where I'm actually going to. If this organization would come out with that impetus, you and I cannot even go and bail any of our brother that is accused of armed robbery. Why? Because one, you'll be ashamed to be associated with that person. You will also be afraid to be linked with that person. That is armed robbery. Now, not to talk of group of people that are involved in killing human beings. Then you have this organization, registered organization, known organization, that have the brand and the attitude of always coming in public, in media, to support and to give excuses why such things are happening. Now, if you look at recently, they said they want to go to court because as far as they are concerned, they are not in support of the grazing bill being passed by state. Now, grazing bill would ordinarily never have been necessary if there had not been issues of killing and perpetual and unending killing of people. I expect that such organization will understand the rationale behind that bill and would also understand and sympathize even with those states rather than come out to now draw a battle line with state government. It simply means that it's either they are your machineries or that they are your people that are involved in such, and you want to protect them. Now, the issue of how they are not from Nigeria and the like and all those stuff like that. Yes, of course, we know that the most traveled set of people in terms of transboundary movement are the Fulanis. They are the Fulanis.
Yeah,
so the issue is when you say Fulani herdsmen, it's not an exclusive of Nigeria. It's not an exclusive of Nigeria. You understand what we are saying? So if you arrest anybody in this country and you discover that it's not a Nigerian, it doesn't make any difference.
Isn't that why there should be a multinational engagement when it comes to this issue of herdsmen attacks?
That would be at the boundary level.
Yes.
But most of the attack you are talking about now, they are not even at the boundary level. That would be at the boundary level.
Right at the heart of the country.
Right in the heart. It's Enugu in the boundary. We are talking of Benue State. You are talking of Taraba and all those stuff like that. Right in the heart of a country. So, but that means that there have been failed security at the boundary level. If you are saying that they are not Nigerians. Now that they are now here, what do we do? Now, if the government, because look, if we are able to come all out to condemn government on Boko Haram, and this one now, as it is now, is becoming more dangerous on daily basis vis-a-vis Boko Haram. I think it's either the government do something or think of resigning, as far as I'm concerned.
But do you think that it is becoming really obvious that the Nigerian security agencies lack adequate manpower to handle some of these things?
No. The issue is not manpower.
Okay.
The issue is the political will from the political circle. Look, whatever Nigerians will say about the security agencies, they may have their defects and their weaknesses. But if the president gives them marching order to go, it will shock you what they will do. The army, the air force, the navy, the police. If the president gives them the go-ahead to say, look, the day I hear that one village is burnt, resign.
Go ahead without being fully armed? Are they even well equipped?
No, they are armed enough.
Are they well equipped?
They are armed enough to pull down every wall of herdsmen in this country. No, it's not international war. They are armed enough to pull down. What are they using?
So what's stopping them?
It is the political will. It's the president has not really come all out to say, Fulani herdsmen, you either stop or you are wiped away. It's a simple, straightforward instruction.
All right, so
they know what to do.
Ngozi was asking a question earlier on. He said, is there more to this than we understand? Because the Fulani herdsmen have been there, not just in this dispensation. In the previous political, they have always been there. And we have not, the marching order you're talking about, none of the presidents have actually come out to say, listen, this has to be like this. So is there something in the political circle that leaders know that Nigerians don't know?
There are many narratives. Some may be right, some may be wrong.
All right.
Now there is the narrative that the Fulani herdsmen are foot soldiers that are allowed to do what they do in the way they wish they want to do it.
To what end?
Now listen, when they are needed for political purposes, are you there with me? Then they are called. Their iniquities are forgiven while they are not needed in the course of doing their job. Now that is a narrative. There's also the narrative of the fact that it is also a religious propaganda in terms of sacking of villages and taking over those villages and putting up their religious beliefs and all those stuff in those villages. Now that is also a narrative. There's also the narrative, like I've said earlier, that okay, these guys are actually meant to defend the cattle of the generals, the military, guys, the top guys who are the real owners of the cattle. And because they have access to arms and ammunition, they arm them. Alternatively, they will not arm them. They have a backup machinery. Anybody that harasses them, then those backup machinery will come to create fear in the heart of all villagers that see them. So they always have this confidence that even though I'm in the bush alone, I am not alone, because there are a group of people that are ready to defend me at the event of any
anything
eventuality.
happens.
Now, there are different narratives, but in security, when you want to put up a proper intelligence network, you put all those narratives on ground without even removing any. Then you begin to analyze each narrative. You will now come down to the most probable. It is the most probable you now begin to work upon.
You start with.
Yes, there's what we call the doctrine of criticality and probability. Now that criticality simply means that although this is very probable, but this is more critical, as it were. They know what to do. They know what to do.
All right, let's leave it here now. They know what to do. If the president gives them the marching order, they are armed enough, they know what to do, and you said Nigerians will be surprised at the outcome of what the military, the police, and all of that is going to do. Tony Ofoyeton, DG, International Institute of Professional Security, thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.